Hi, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Double 18 Podcast. I'm your host, Stephen Nagishi, along with my co host. On to my right of your screen, it is Ken Fang from Awful Announcing. Ken, good evening, and thanks for joining me once again on this Sunday evening. It's unfortunately started to snow again in my neck of the woods, and I understand you're also dealing with it yourself as
Yeah,
well.
well, where am I going to go, Stephen? I have no place to go. It's a state of emergency here in Rhode Island. The governor told us to stay off the roads.
Yep.
Um, my guy who's going to be plowing my driveway isn't going to be coming in until 3 a.m. on Tuesday. So where am I going to go? Great to be with you, and great to be with our fans. So
Yep.
we'll be very happy to talk to you guys, and we have a great guest coming in too.
Yeah, absolutely. I reached out to this guest recently. He is a formerly national syndicated talk show host with the old Audacy Sports, based out of Milwaukee area. Uh, Now it is known as the Westwood One Sports after their merger. Based out of Milwaukee, I'd like to welcome in Mr. Bart Winkler to the show. Bart, thank you for joining us. This is Stephen Nagishi with my co-host Ken Fang on my top right there. How are things with you up in Milwaukee?
Good. No snow here, which is always weird when other people are experiencing it and we're not. It just seems like whenever they're, especially on the East Coast, okay, whenever there's a big snowstorm on the East Coast, that's
Yeah.
top story for. But here it's like it's 5 inches on Monday, 7 inches on Wednesday, 8 more inches on Wednesday night, and it's just like whatever. That's Wisconsin. They're fine. So good luck to you guys and anybody else having to deal with that this weekend.
Like you said, Bart, where am I going to go? I have no place to go, so I'm just gonna. It's might as well be spend the hour with you guys. So it's fine.
Yeah, and if someone's doing the driveway for you, I mean, yeah, why would you leave anywhere? As long as you're stocked up, you got what you need. You're gonna be well fed, well situated. You'll be good.
Yeah, I got chicken wings yesterday, so I'm fine. We're fine.
Well, Bart, welcome. I want to start by saying thank you for joining us to our show. Let's start with your background. You're based out of Milwaukee, and tell us how you kind of got yourself into the world of broadcasting and on the sports side.
Yeah, and I'll make it quick. I've always loved radio, always loved TV, and when I went to college, I wanted to be on TV. I wanted to be, Sports Center anchor. That was like my dream. I tried out for that Dream Job reality show all those years ago that ESPN had, which was weird. But I wanted TV. I wanted TV. And then I was a news anchor at a TV station in Wisconsin, and I wanted to get into sports. That was the path. And my news director, I don't know this. I remember where in the building she told me, she's like, I don't see you as a sports guy. And I thought, okay, well, I'm trying to, that's what I'm trying to be. I eventually left TV altogether and remembered I used to sit in my room as a 10-year-old doing radio shows with the play record, recording the songs, talking in between. Radio is my first love. So I was able to then in my hometown get a radio job, go up the chain, and eventually I landed at the sports station WSSP in Milwaukee in 2014 as a producer and went up that chain too. I was there until 2022 when they just flipped the format from not even flip the format means we're country, now we're hot AC. We're sports talk, now we're country. It wasn't like that. It was we're local sports talk. No, now we're just the national syndicated feed, which I didn't understand I don't know. A lot of the things that happen to me, I don't understand why they're happening. There's, you never get a good reason. So I was out of a job, but I had done a few fill-in shifts through the national part of Audacy on CBS Sports Radio at the time. And I was then able to one door closes, that door open where I was doing a bunch of fill-in shifts, and then they shuttered the lineup again. I think the domino effect that got me in the door was DA. DA had left the mornings to go to Mad Dog, and then there was some shuttling. There was a night job open, got the night job, and then was there for 2 years. And then another round of layoffs, and I now find myself talking to you boys. So it all worked out. Perfect.
You're talking to David Amendolara, who was I know from who used to be on 98.5 the Sports Hub, and then abandoned Boston, and then I'm kidding. He knows I'm kidding. Abandoned Boston for New York to go national, and he's done a fantastic job. But Bart, having been in radio myself and had the on a part of iHeartless Radio, I'm not bitter, not at all. Being fired twice, but you know what? I will say this, Bart. If you're not fired in radio at least once or twice, you're not truly trustworthy. So, I feel that you're very trustworthy.
Well, thank you. And that's why, so what I'm doing now, I don't know when my next radio job will be, but I've been doing a podcast. When I got laid off the first time, I just said, okay, I'm going to do my show as a podcast. And it was the Bart Winkler Show just as a podcast. And then I got the national show, and they wanted that to be the Bart Winkler Show. It makes total sense. So I changed it. The podcast is now called Into the Winklerverse, which is a play on that's the community, that's the universe of my name. But also I'm a big Marvel guy, so Winklerverse, multiverse, all that kind of stuff. So it works. But the big thing for me that I'm glad I did looking back was when I got that national show, I didn't abandon the podcast. I still did it 2-3 times a week. And that was more focused on Wisconsin sports and Packer. I'd do a post game after Packer shows or games and stuff like that. And, would stay connected that way. But I always I knew even going into this national job, I knew at some point I would get laid off again. At some point, I feel good enough about what I offer that I don't think if I'm going to get fired, it's going to be, oh, Bart did this. But I also know what happens. And so I thought, I'll keep the podcast. Now, I didn't think it'd be 2 years until I was back doing that full time. I thought I'd at least, get a nice 5 to 10 year run, late night radio. But again, was not the case. But absolutely. And I think that's what I try to tell people that are getting into this business. I remember the first time we got laid off, I'm 41 now. So I was 30, mid 30s. But there are a lot of kids that were out of school as interns or producers, and they were 23, 24. And I remember their eyes in the, because all laid off meetings are Zoom calls now. But I remember their eyes, they were like, how is this possible? How is this happening? How could this be? That's radio, guys. And sorry you have to find out so quickly, but that is what it is.
So go ahead. I apologize.
That's okay. What's really funny is that, with the state of media being such, it's the wild, wild west, Bart. That. But the thing is that you just keep grinding, and you just never know. People with podcasts find themselves with national deals, so you just never know what's the next step could be. So that's why I appreciate you're still grinding.
And I'm doing that thanks to the people that have followed me, and thanks to a couple different sponsors. There were listeners that, as soon as this happened, they said, hey, I saw you're doing a podcast, or if you do a podcast, we want to sponsor you. So it's always nice too when listeners, have their own business, especially if you go into a podcast and they're diehard listeners. We want the show to continue. I have a business. I will pay for you to continue the show. So that helped too. But I don't know. I'm trying it. I got a supportive family. The wife's always been the breadwinner in the house, so that's I could toil around in radio, which is a very common thing I've noticed for a lot of people in radio. It's we get to play while she works all day, but I thank her for that for sure.
Yes, definitely. Certain people are saints in the family, and we have to thank our significant others. Absolutely, 100%.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm. So Bart, kind of getting back to your recent gig with Audacy. I know Ken was jokingly talking about getting fired from the radio, and obviously Audacy is now merged with Westwood One Sports now. Kind of give us a background on, when did you start hearing about, the possibility of being laid off or being, losing your show to, obviously with the Westwood One Sports people. And are you in talks? Have you been in touch with the other people who ended up losing their show, like Jody McDonald of the world and so forth?
Yeah, October is when we found out. Last October, there was like a meeting, and I was getting text and emails from people that I didn't really know and talk to higher up the chain, like, "Hey, you're gonna be at this meeting, right?" That didn't seem like a good sign. So you go into that thinking, okay, this is probably what I think it is. But then it was really weird because the first time I got laid off, it was meeting. We're done. We're having this meeting to tell you it's over. And I was on vacation at the time. Now I was home. I wasn't like on a beach somewhere, but I was on vacation. So that I thought that makes sense because you don't want these people to go on the air and then, talk out of school or whatever. This was different because they said, we're done in 2 months. So you have 2 months, which I don't know what I like better, honestly. I don't know. I don't like either. That's for sure. But for a while, because it was weird, because we didn't know if we were going to be able to jump onto the Westwood. We didn't know how different the Westwood programming would be. We knew that day of because it was reported that it was going to be Rome and Jim Rome and then 2 other shows from BetMGM, but there were open slots. And so I think we all had our little FaceTime with Westwood. I wasn't a candidate, I guess, to continue, and that's fine. But then we still had to play out the string, which was weird. And they never gave us there was no protocol of when do you tell people? How should there, there wasn't a streamlined thing. And I don't know. I don't know. I've talked about this. I signed off talking about it. I don't know what is the right thing to do in that position, but I know that it got very hard, especially winding down to where you didn't know what was coming next, but you still had, and this is a nighttime show too. This is like say goodnight to my wife and kid, drive into work at 8:30 at night. Yeah, when you're driving that late at night, it's like what, and you're not going to work in 2 weeks. It's tough. But I wanted to say goodbye for the people that had supported us. I wanted to say goodbye to all that, and I don't think we were too malicious with the opportunity, because it is like you're letting us be on the air, knowing that we're harboring probably a lot of ill will about what's happening. But I do appreciate that that I was able to do that. I have reached out to some of the people at Westwood that took over in that slot. Linnell Willingham, I had known, he's been on my show. And then I saw some of the other guys. This is what I was trying to talk about towards the end is I want, if you like this show, if you like the Bart Winkler show on Infinity Sports Network, follow me if you can, if you'll find me. Don't take it out though on the people that are taking over, because it wasn't, they got an opportunity just like I did. And I saw some of my people not listening to me and throwing shots at these other new guys online and stuff. So I try to reach out to them and have talked a little bit with them. I'm just like, guys, I'm not, just so you know, I'm wishing you the best. I'm not sending an army. This will all die down anyway in like a week. It's just like that white hot, this happened, it's new, it's a change. Then it goes away and it's fine. And the people that were there, yeah, I've talked to Zach Gelb a lot, more in a friend capacity, really. Bill Ryder and I were talking. I'm going to try to get him on my show. He's doing a Substack. Going to try to do a home and home with a lot of these people because, a lot of like Maggie and Perloff are kind of finding their own way. Zach.
Oh, I forgot about them. Yeah.
Yeah. Zach's with 365 Sports.
Right.
And then there's like Carlos Ortiz, who did the show with me. I make him do a podcast with me once a week, and he latched on to some producer hours at Westwood. So, it's tough. You never know. Like, one of the things in this business is your enemy today, can be your friend tomorrow, can be your enemy again next week, can be your boss next month.
Mhm.
So you don't want to burn too many bridges, or at least have the plywood next to the cliff to rebuild it if need be.
Yeah, it's not like the old days when we all remember what Keith Olbermann did to ESPN, and when ESPN's people said he didn't burn a bridge, he napalmed them. So
Yeah.
you definitely don't want to do that.
No,
but
try not to. It's hard, but you try.
I know. Believe me, I know. Well, believe me, when you get fired, the first thing you want to do is definitely napalm. But
Yeah.
as you get older, you realize that exactly that you could be called back. You just never know. So I know you're trying to be classy about this. You're trying to tell your listeners, hey, don't take it out on the new guys because they have nothing to do with this. But when you learn that you're going to be losing a job and you're going and you're playing out the string, so to speak, how do you just continue just to do the show, Bart? I mean, I know it's difficult, and I've been there, so I certainly know where you're coming from, and I certainly know that you're trying to do that restraint. But how hard is it to or was it easy for you to have that restraint?
I don't think it was easy.
Mm-hmm.
I think so. With 2 months, the first month you're just like, whatever. And we thought maybe we would still have an opportunity to be a part of the new network. Because I think when the new network was announced, if they're going to say that they had a plan and know who they were hiring for that January or December 29th start date, they're lying. They did not know. Mm-hmm. There were jobs open. They did talk to us. Some, like I said, more than others. But I think then towards the end, we started making jokes that only we would get, which, whatever. And then we just decided, okay, we're going to, I have to announce, I can't not announce it anymore, which was still weird because then there was a domino effect of my show announced something. I think Bill Ryder said something first. And I'm like, screw it, I'm doing it now. But then Gelb didn't say anything till the final week. I still don't think Maggie and Pearl, I think they said it the final day. They were just,
they did. Yeah, you're right.
They were just going forward as, and I respect them for doing that. I can't. That's not within my, I had to do something. And I think where the, when I signed off, I was very, I thank you to the listeners. Thank you to the people. I felt like, the thing that really bothered me about watching other people sign off, because I made the appropriate thank yous to David Miernick, who a lot of people don't know, he's a behind the scenes guy. He was my boss. He was great. Spike Eskin was in charge when I got hired. He basically had called me and said, we need someone. You're our best host that doesn't have a show. It's yours if you want it. That was great. So I thanked him. I thank Gelb, who I've mentioned, but Gelb, I think, a relationship with him helped me. So I thank these people because they actually had a role in my life and getting me that show. What I noticed, and I don't know everybody else's story, so maybe I'm making things up or connecting dots that aren't there, but it did seem like they also thanked a lot of names that you just feel like you have to thank because of where they are in the company.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't know any of those people.
Right.
I didn't, the people that made the decisions for this new change, I did not have a relationship with them. I'm not even sure they knew that my show was on their network. So I was mad that this was playing out without a check-in, without a, what's your plan? Without a, hey, I know we gave you 2 months. It's you have this meeting where we're thinking about you. We're so thankful. And then it's where are you? Well, what, help me. If you're going to throw me, you're basically throwing me into the waters saying you can do this. You're going to swim. You're going to be just fine. But you've never taught me how to swim. And you're not giving me a life vest. You're just throwing me into the shark infested waters. Okay. Well, so I was getting really annoyed that these people were getting thanked. They were the ones that let us go, and I didn't have a relationship with them. So I just wanted to say, my parting message to everybody was, listeners that were involved, thank you. People that put me here and supported me, thank you. But this was not a decision that I understand. The show was doing well. People liked it. But you're just gonna, it's here today, gone tomorrow. And one of the things that I said was listeners were an afterthought in this process.
Yeah, right.
What's happened though is a lot of people that, you know, and I'm not like bitter about this because I've done this too. Oh, my favorite person's leaving. This sucks. I'll follow you. You're not changing your patterns though. And now people that were listening to me are still on the same truck routes, are still working their garages, are still, you know, needing a voice to unwind at night. It's just a different person.
Mm-hmm.
They're still there. So the people at the top, I say that the people at the top, this corporate, they're like, you're the enemy. You don't know what you're doing. But they did kind of, because it worked. They went on to the next.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's a lot of conflicting thoughts, which is baked into, yeah, that was a job I liked and I would still like to be doing it, but I'm not. So that's the
Right.
underlying part of it.
Yeah, I mean, I can understand because I've had that slow burn. It starts when you get let go, it continues, and you still see someone in your position. So I totally understand where you're coming from, Bart. I mean, it's you know, we're speaking with Bart Winkler, formerly of Infinity Sports Radio, the network, and also trying to do his own thing, and we appreciate that. So, by the way, jokingly, I know that Steven asked you to do the show, and you're in Milwaukee, and he's a big Bears fan. So, is there a way that how you do? I mean, is it in this whole thing? Did you like think that why is this guy asking me to do the show here tonight?
I don't know. First of all, I'm glad that I saw the message because it came in on Twitter through my DMs. So it was like
sliding to the DMs. Yes, that's what the kids.
But
say.
I'm glad I saw it because it was sandwiched around a lot of like sexual advance bot DM.
Well, that's not me. That's not me. But, yeah.
So then I saw your face and I was like, I clicked on yours. But no, I feel like being in Milwaukee, because I was on the Score at night, 670 The Score at night, and I heard from their listeners a lot, and that meant, you know, something to me that I was able to have those overnight hours on a lot of different stations. But the Score, growing up near it, and you know, knowing what it is and everything, and I appreciate that. So I was for Bears fans and, you know, Chicago fans, I always try to be like, I get it, this is fun. I'm going to talk about your teams in a respectful way. Like I'm gonna break down the Bears and the Cubs or whatever. Like I don't have Packer stuff hanging on my wall. And I think I did that. However, the Brewers then played the Cubs in the playoffs, and then the Bears played the Packers. One of those worked out good for me. The other did not. Man, that is tough. I am not built for playoff rivalries. I'm not built for it. I don't like it. What I don't understand is the Bears now, there's this talk that they might move to Indiana.
Yeah.
Right.
So I think that's abhorrent. I think that's terrible. But I got Bears fans telling me, oh, it's not that far away. It's across the border, man. It's in Indiana. I don't care. I don't care. Well, I don't care if it's next door and the border goes down your street. The Chicago Bears need to play in Illinois.
I agree.
I do believe that's where they're eventually heading, because I think the team president, Kevin Warren, looked like he overplayed his hands, pissed off the politicians in Illinois, and even the Mercurius owner, George McCaskey, apparently was not happy with how Warren did the announcements. Because Warren came up with the weird statements, or released a statement at a really odd time. I think he even released a statement the day before the big Bears-Packers game, if you remember, on Saturday night. That was widely criticized, even by the Bears fans, because of the odd timing, and then the releasing it just the day before the significant game, which we all know how it ended up. But it's not like Kevin Warren has a very strong support even within our Bears community. He's done a great things in his career, working for the Vikings, of course, with the Lions in the NFC North. But his tenure with the Big Ten commissioner only lasted about 4 years, which seems to be like the average tenure wherever he goes. So I expect that once the Bears get their stadium situation sorted out, I think Kevin Warren is probably on his way out again at some point. But yeah, it does feel kind of weird, no matter where it ends up. It's not going to be in the city of Chicago, probably. Either Arlington Heights, and then I think that's where it looks to be going that way if all goes well. I know people say like, well, the Giants play in the New Jersey area, right? The Giants and the Jets, and people don't complain about it. The Raiders and the Chargers, the Rams and the Chargers, they share a stadium, SoFi in Inglewood, near Inglewood. So that's nice. Like way outside of that's way outside of Los Angeles. So and the 49ers, they play in Santa Clara. As we saw this year in this year's Super Bowl, not nowhere near San Francisco. And I've been to that stadium. It's quite a getting there from San Francisco, taking on a train to just get there, and then take the bus and so forth. So it was quite a challenge there. But yeah, I do hope that for the for the sake of the the theme song, we're the pride and joy of Illinois. I hope it doesn't change to Indiana or just scrap it, come up with a new song again, because it tradition does matter, especially in this day and age, where, money and corporate seems to have a big say and overwritten a lot of things in this, in sports nowadays anyway. So
I don't like that they're going to be either, no matter where they play, there's going to be a ceiling on top of them.
Right.
The NFC North.
It's just like a regular dome. It's not a retractable dome. That makes no sense either.
After the two electric atmospheres they just got outside against their rival in the cold.
Yes. Yeah.
We're going to see that and still put a roof over the head. I hate it. I hate that. All for what? Maybe a Super Bowl and 2 Final Fours in the next 20 years. Ooh,
right.
Yeah.
Not worth it to me.
I know. And I will also add that the Kansas City Chiefs are doing the same thing with, building a stadium, just on the Kansas side. We're not talking like in Wichita, but thankfully I lived in the Overland Park area, which is about a few miles between Kansas and the Missouri border. But I know that, again, moving out of Kansas City, where they have a magnificent Arrowhead Stadium, and then moving to, again, a cookie cutter dome stadium in the likes of Las Vegas Raiders, if you can think about it, being propped up almost everywhere nowadays, just for, like you said, 1 Super Bowl and then 2 Final Fours and a couple of concerts and WrestleMania and so forth. I don't know if it's worth destroying the tradition and so forth. So since we're, Ken and I normally talk about something outside of, box scores and, X's and O's, I wanted to talk to you because, one of the things that you and I discussed earlier was the NBA All-Stars and then the lack of attendance and the vibes last week at this time in Los Angeles. Where are you right now on the NBA All-Star spectrum and then the NBA game in particular? Because we know the tanking is bad, and Adam Silver is trying to do all he can to fix the tanking situations and all forth. And then you live in Milwaukee, and you probably had a strong opinion about Giannis, about the trade rumor. And then once that trade rumor went away, he announced that he has a part owner of Kalshi, which is a predictive sites and so forth. How are you feeling about, the current state of the NBA, whether it's, Giannis and Kalshi All-Star really have no pizzazz like it used to, and then, the tanking and and all of it?
I think for the game itself, it was a better, more involved game. And maybe the product or like the way it was delivered, USA versus the world, did lead to that. I think though it's just about, do these guys care and do these guys want to try? I think Luka and Jokic are huge adversaries to the All-Star game. Like they have been. The line I use is they get on the court, run around, and have tickle fights up and down the floor during the All-Star game, because they're just like goof lovey, happy. Play the game, man.
Right.
Just play the game. I don't know where we got to. I hate that we spend like so much time talking about the All-Star game when it's just like 2.5 hours on a Sunday night. Just enjoy it for what it is. Go back to East versus West. If they try hard, they try hard. If they don't, they don't. I don't care. I like the All-Star games. I like how the Pro Bowl used to be. I like when they wear their own jerseys. Like I want to see all these guys be together. Now that's a lot more rare. I'm thinking of these All-Star games I watched in MLB in the 90s where they didn't have interleague play until a certain time. So this would be, other than the World Series, the only time you would see American leaguers and national leaguers on the same field. And now the league is so like it's one. It's not National League and American League anymore. It's American Conference, National Conference. So I think that being gone for all of these sports, these guys are together a lot. Then we watch them on the Olympics, or we watch them on the different, like, they're friends. People get, there's more player movement. So it's not as special to see a guy with a guy, because, you know, even like that graphic I just saw, Harden, Durant, Westbrook, how many teams they've been on since. So it's not as special, but it's really, these guys got to play. And while it might be a bad product, the All-Star game as is, don't replace it for a worse product. And I think that's what the NFL did. They took away, I'd rather have a bad, boring, no-tackle football game than whatever it was we saw that Tuesday night, if anyone watched it. Sounds like they didn't. And I know that the USA versus the world thing made sense during the Olympics with the NBC rights holder. So I'm open to them, you know, trying that this year. But I just want to see East versus West. I don't think it's that big of a deal. It doesn't need to be the most competitive thing ever. It's just watch the game. It's an exhibition. That's all it needs to be. I think the greater part of that is Adam Silver, I think, either just needs to take a vacation or just not look at his phone for a week. I feel like he's the most reactionary commissioner we've ever had. Right. He's got more. This guy, his emotions are on his sleeve. Like the All-Star game, I think that led to this. The East scored 200 points. Mm-hmm. Well, yeah. He goes afterwards, well, you scored the most ever. Congratulations. And then he gave the East the trophy. Like, oh, so clearly you're mad. Then he introduces his play-in tournament, and the Mavs, remember that last weekend, they're like, we're going to tank. Like that last, they started Luka when they had him and then took him out. We're going to tank. Silver was like, yeah, I'm embarrassed. So then he fined them, even though there's other teams that are tanking. Silver's just, he's too reactionary. He's too embarrassed too easily. He's got his heart on his sleeve. He's reacting to, he's too online. I don't know how you fix the tanking. I think that, well, to fix the tank, because the incentive, losing is the incentive. Right. There's an incentive to lose. To fix the tanking, you either need to get rid of the draft, stupid. You need to do promotion relegation, which doesn't work here because there's nowhere to relegate them to. Needs to be, like, if you're last place, good things happen to you. That's such a weird part of American sports. If you're last place, good things happen to you. So that's like a fundamental change. And then you got my team that is too good to tank, but it's too bad to be in the playoffs. Giannis has to come back. We'll see how the Bucks end their season. I don't understand. Like, at one point, ESPN, they're up there talking and they're going, man, why we got to talk about Giannis all the time? This is so annoying. Stop doing it then. He signed his name 3 times, possibly a 4th coming up. You're creating the story. Well, he's talking about it because you're asking him. Right. The Kelce thing, Kelsey and Polymarket and predictive markets aside,
Mm-hmm.
to have this will he, won't he, where the odds are changing daily, where he's participating in why the odds are changing based on what he says. 24 hours removed, he says, oh, by the way, I'm a partner in Kelsey. Even if he came out with it right now, it's one to do it the day. Oh, man, just a horrendous look. Just a horrendous look. So I'll ride or die for my guys and my teams, but Giannis is on his own for that one.
Right, 100%. Of course, you got load management, which has been rearing its ugly head for I don't know how long now. But it just seems like, and even the TV partners can't do anything about it because all of a sudden you don't know if Stephen Curry is going to stay out for the rest of the year. You've got a bunch of Golden State Warrior games that are going to be on NBC and ESPN coming up. So it's like you're damned if you do or damned if you don't because you want
too many games. Get rid of some games. They won't.
Yeah, exactly, 100%. I mean. You don't need 81 games. You could go back to I mean, I don't know if you want to go back to 61 or 70, but you're absolutely players just don't want to play that much and they're getting hurt and they want to avoid getting hurt. It's just
if you watch the NBA now, like 82 games now, what's required of you from when 82 games first started, the possessions are quicker. There's more possessions per game. You're asking more of these guys. There is like logical sense to decrease the season because Steph's gonna sit out as long as he can. Luka just sat out a long time. They'll come back. We'll come back when I need to. I mean, what's it matter? It doesn't matter. The regular season, we don't need 82 games to figure out who's good or not. We do not.
Right.
But you're not going to take away a single game because how much revenue is that? They're not going to do it. So they have the answer. They just don't like it, and then they're going to try to make up a new one, which I don't know. Whatever they do is going to be dumb, and it's going to get more problems. Well, how do we fix this? Well, okay. Well, how do you fix that? All right.
Yeah. All right. Let's move on to baseball. The spring training has finally began, but obviously, the talks is again. It might be a while after this year that we're going to see baseball again because the work stoppage is probably more than likely happen. 2027 season is probably in perils, and who knows how long this is going to go beyond after next season. Obviously there's a parity in terms of spending. You live in a small market in Milwaukee. Freddie Peralta got traded to the Mets this off season. Certainly, I'm sure you had a very mixed emotions about with the Brewers' success winning the divisions, but getting blasted by the Dodgers and their $1 million lineups and pitchings and so forth. Getting swept and now you have Freddie Peralta on the Mets now. I do believe that unfortunately this is we're heading towards a long work stoppage because the disparity in spending, and then there's the the floor that I think that there needs to be a floor that be installed first about forcing small market teams, not Milwaukee, of course, but places like Pittsburgh, Tampa, and the others that are have long, and even Oakland, I will say, that has long been criticized for not spending money in the first place. Bart, from your perspective, living in Milwaukee and all that's happening, where do you see the MLB heading after this year, and what do you see the future? In terms of, should the salary cap be implemented in MLB, or it really doesn't matter at this point?
I don't know. I think the Brewers. They're trying to do this thing where the phrase that David Stearns once used when he was here was, we want as many bites of the apple as we can have. And I think I understand the theory. And you've seen some teams in the World Series, the Diamondbacks made a run where they didn't get hot until their second series of that playoffs because they beat the Brewers, and then they had a game. I think they hit 4 home runs in an inning or something against the Dodgers, and then they got hot. So you can get in, take a bite of the apple, get into the World Series. The Brewers, though, it's their method, but it's working for other teams and maybe not them. we're gonna have a lockout. I don't know how we're not, or we're gonna have no baseball. I don't like that. I remember baseball was my first love.
Same.
As a kid. In fact, one of my first favorite teams was the Chicago Cubs because they were on TV every day and they were national and Brewers were American.
Right.
So I could have two teams. They never played each other.
Right.
It was different. You could have two teams in baseball. You totally could. Then the Brewers had to move for whatever reason. But when they went on strike in 94, I was 10 and baseball was everything to me. And then it was gone. And I did not personally get back into it. And I think a lot of people my age share that story. 1998, the home run chase, you couldn't look away. So steroids brought me back into baseball, which is why I go easy on those guys. But I got a kid, he's 6. He's into baseball. He's watching. It's spring. What is it? The second, third day of spring training.
Yep.
He would not let me do anything today because he's constantly taking my phone to see where the scores are. He knows it's spring training. He knows it doesn't matter, but he wants to see like who's winning. And then it's the 2 leagues, the Florida League, the cactus and the grapefruit. And if you go online, you can't find the 2 standings together. They're separate because it's separate. But then he's doing the math in his head. And so I got 30 helmets on my TV stand in order of him processing who's going where. Kid's insane. Loves it. And so I'm watching him. I'm watching, like, next summer there's going to be no baseball for him. And I don't like that. So while I might think, okay, yeah, if they need a year to figure it out and get a salary cap, I can't think like that with a 6-year-old kid who loves baseball, and going to baseball games is like one of our funnest activities that we do. So I don't want him to go on strike at all or lockout. They have to. This is unsustainable, it sounds like. What I'm bothered by is that the players, they're making a lot of money, more than they should.
Right.
But we're going to vilify them in this process. And we're going to take the side of the owners.
Yeah.
Because of, I think, well, maybe a few reasons. One is the human brain cannot properly differentiate the difference between million and billion. So if you tell someone like, yeah, Kyle Tucker just signed for $280 million and the owners are worth $5 billion. Somehow we don't get that like $5 billion isn't $5 billion is 5,000 million. We don't figure that out. So we look at the players as these huge dollar signs. It would almost behoove, like, if Shohei signs a $1 billion deal, it would behoove him to do that rather than a $999 million deal. Just because of the number. The old thing with, was it Wendy's? I think a long time ago, they tried to come out with do you guys know the story? They tried to come out with a 3rd pounder, which was more than a quarter pounder.
People didn't understand it was like less than more than a
3 is less than 4.
Yeah.
So people thought the quarter pounder was more than it's. So we got to get past that. But then the other thing is the owners are going to be able to sell us what we want. We want a salary cap. And they're going to say that's what we want too. So we're going to side with them. But a salary cap means the players will make less money. There's not going to be a profitability cap. The owners want it because it's going to mean more money for them. But they're going to come to you and say, we want it to be fair. We want all you guys to, whatever. So it's going to be a lot of, politicking, and we're going to side with the owners because they're going to be able to give us what we want, even though what we want is what they want, because they want to make more money, and we're going to inadvertently side with them.
And why is it, Bart, that somehow fans seem to relate to them pleading poverty when we know that they're not going to lose money. They're not going to be impoverished. We know that because they're billionaires. They're going to continue to make money in their other endeavors. But yet we still say, oh, they're not making money, so that therefore we got to side with the owners. It's really strange that type of thinking. You're absolutely right about that.
And I kind of think that's more of an American thing. Don't you think, Bart?
Well, I think it's just weird. Like we do. Who do I mean by we? Americans, people, I don't know, baseball fans.
Right, like siding with the rich, which is nothing new.
We simp for owners. We simp for the rich.
Right.
Yeah.
Because if you're a baseball fan, just like an average guy, you look at the owner, and maybe you're right, but there's probably more of a likelihood that you, average person, will own a baseball team someday than you ever will pitch in a Game 7. So we relate more to them, even though they have not. They live in a different world than us.
Mm-hmm.
They live in a completely different world than us. Like, when I go to the grocery store, I notice the bags of Doritos were 30 cents more than they were the last time I was there. Do you think these owners even step in a grocery store? Yet they're the ones we're relating to.
Right.
I don't get it, but they are going to have that upper hand, and they do have the ace in the hole, which is they can offer the promise of what we want, which is a salary cap. We want it for different reasons. They want to make more money. We want our teams to be competitive. We want there to be. We just don't want 10 teams to not try. Same kind of problem you're having in the NBA, but in the MLB, they're not trying because they don't need to. It's summer. You're still coming out. We're still making money. You know, they don't need to. I'm interested if some of these regional networks kind of shutting down is going to force we need more money. We have to do this because you're losing some money. I think the Brewers are going to lose just by not having they're on FanDuel Sports. They're going to be MLB.TV.
Right.
They're going to lose money on that. So we'll see what the books look like after that. But I don't think, even though less baseball or no baseball could mean better baseball, a lot of us will get behind that. Ultimately, I think my kid will be fine, but I was fine, but it took me 4 years. Mm-hmm. It was 4 years. I go through my trading cards. I'm a big card guy, and I was showing him some cards, and they like end at 93 tops and then don't pick up again until like 2001 Donruss. Because I don't like know any trivia about baseball in the mid 90s. I don't know anything. I didn't watch it. So it's just weird. I don't want that to happen again.
Well, I lost 4 years, 94 to 48, 94 to 98 because I drank too much, but that's totally different. That's neither here nor there. That's totally different.
I'm losing 24 to 28 in that regard.
Bart, we got to have you back. You're very fun. We got to have you back on. This is tremendous. Loving the stuff. Quickly though, NFL. We'll talk about that. NFL supposedly wants to go to 18 games, and they're trying to also open up their media deals. As someone who's with Awful Announcing, that's something we're looking at quite a bit. But which is going to come first, like a new media deal or 18 games, or is it going to be both coming at the same time?
They seem tied in. I think there's still enough resistance, though, towards that 18th game from fans.
And we know that why? Because they want to expand it to, force teams to play one extra game in Europe, Australia, South America, Asia, Antarctica, or wherever the hell they want to. So
we're talking about the NBA maybe taking away games, right? We were talking about that. For the NFL, they just 18 games is not a lot. Mm-hmm. It really isn't. The issue that the NFL is going to have convincing us for an 18th game, I'm not talking players, I'm talking fans. That last week sucks. The last couple of weeks, especially now that they prioritize the national TV partners in the primetime games, as you would expect. But man, there's some of these early windows that you're watching. There's 8 games on. They're all bad. Mm-hmm. And they're all they're bad. There's no juice to them. The teams don't want to be there. You're going to give us another week like this? Because already that final week, how many games truly mattered? And then there's still a bunch of teams where the games, you could fight for seat. They don't care. They're in. They don't care. I think an 18th game, but I fought against the 17th game. And then we have it. I mean, I guess. a lot of times I fight against these changes. Like baseball, I've fought against every change in baseball. And then I watch it and it's like, oh yeah, I like this. Okay, yeah.
We're talking about the what
I didn't like that there was a clock. My whole thing was this is an
clock,
untimed
the pitch
sport.
Clock. Yeah.
This is an untimed sport. There should be no clocks at all. It should be like the inside of a casino. Doesn't matter what time it is. 9 innings. Doesn't matter. But
you've embraced it now.
Games are quicker. They're exciting. Even that dumb thing in extra innings. There's nothing I love more than like a 19-inning box score and then looking at how screwed the teams are for the next couple of days. There was one of the nights that I remember. There was like 3 years where I lived with a couple buddies after college, our first job, room together in an apartment. We love to go out on Saturday nights, and Sunday nights and Monday nights and Tuesday nights. But I remember one Saturday, like Mets Reds was on Fox or something, and the game went to 12 innings, and it was on TV. Then it went 13, 14. I think it was like a 21-inning game that we did not leave the house because we were enthralled in this game. We just stayed in for the night. I love those kind of. It's just so fun. I love those kind of games where there's that. But then again, they add the extra ghost run or whatever we're calling it. I'm like, oh, no, I love this too. So usually when there's changes, I'll fight against them, then they'll happen, and then I'm fine with it. I don't know. An 18th game, yeah, of course I'm going to love an extra week in of football, but it's going to be bad football. You just have to know that coming in. The thing that they better not do, and I don't know how they could, like you can't argue for another game and say safety. And I think the NFL's got this little trick right now where if they want to do something but don't know how to justify it, they say, safety. Why does the kickoff look so stupid?
Right.
Safety? Why are overtimes in the regular season 10 minutes and not 15? Why can't you just go to 15?
Right.
Oh, safety. Okay. We can't fight against safety. What do you want?
I totally agree. Hurt? Yeah.
So they use that with ill intent, I feel. The safety.
No, I totally agree. The safety aspect is total BS. We all know it. The CTE and all of that. They still haven't. That didn't stop them from doing anything. It just makes it. Oh, you know what? Hey, CTE. Solution is to more football games and more players getting hurt and then having them brain bashed in the long run. And then, the NFL is going to figure out a way to screw these players, the ones who got screwed playing, games 23 years ago. The ones that are playing now, they're going to be in the same predicament 20, 30 years from, fortunately. It seems like.
Yeah, it'll be I don't know. It's going to be interesting to watch, and they'll find a way to convince us, though. They will.
Okay. Our guest tonight is Bart Winkler from formerly of Infinity Sports Network, based out of Milwaukee. Ken, you got any more questions you want to ask?
Bart, Eddie, you talked about your podcast for now, and anywhere else we can find you?
First of all, Steven, does that piano work for you? Because I think
no,
that's
fancy background. Fancy wallpaper
mine doesn't.
that I'm using.
We're in the same room now.
Yes, I see it. Yeah,
I used to use this background. I'd go on the local news.
Very, very helpful with these, green screen stuff there.
Yeah, let me get back to the. There we go. All right. Yeah, I'm doing the podcast. I'm doing it 5 days a week, most of the time. It's really depending on if my kid's in school, I'll do one during the day, and then I'm trying to do like post games of Bucks and whatever. But yeah, into the Winklerverse. And again, I'm able to do this because I've had it set up before, but also the people that were with me, like, have followed me and they become a part of it. One thing I really like doing is I'll go live and I'll throw the link out so that people Wednesday night was weird. I had so much to like, I equated it to, I'm somebody like, I need to get 7,000 steps every day. It's an obsession. I need to get it. And I haven't gotten it yet today. So I'm kind of like glitzing out in my head. But that Wednesday, I had so much to talk about, and I was trying to find times during the day for it to work. I couldn't sit down in my basement and do a podcast. Finally, at like 9 o'clock, I did. And I didn't need to do it just like for the show. I was doing it for me. I was like, I have thoughts in my brain. I need to just I don't care if nobody watches. I just need to say them. So I go on live. I throw a link out. It's unannounced. I don't know. People joined. I had like nonstop guests, which are just listeners that wanted to talk. That aspect, because I've been big on phone calls. I love the late night radio. I love the phone call aspect. I don't I think a lot of the phone call aspect in radio is weird, where people will beg for the number or throw out the number and beg for calls and either never take them or let a guy make 1 point and kick him off.
Mm-hmm.
I've been doing solo radio for long enough now, after doing co-host and, ensemble, that I like callers to be a part of the nonsense. I like them to be characters too. So I'll give people a chance and, talk with them and try to find what's interesting. And a lot of people they're recurring characters, and I've always liked that. And I have that on my podcast now too. So it's not just me wanting to talk. I actually hate talking by myself. I don't like it. I think I can do it, but I'd rather talk to somebody else. I'd rather play off somebody. I'd rather give somebody else an opportunity to shine. I like doing that. So that's kind of what the podcast. I don't like to just sit down and, all right, here's 50 minutes of me. I want it to be a conversation. I want it to, and even if that person is not like, for a listener, I'm thinking, okay, well, Bart's got this guy who covers the Packers. I'll listen to that one. But I also like getting the opinions of other people that are just, fans like I am. So we've been doing a lot of that. And I'm enjoying that. But Into the Winklerverse is the current name of the show.
Yeah, I'm going to post it right here. Just for those who are watching this. This is the
anything to cover up that Bears logo would be good. I'm glad he did that. That's good.
Oh my goodness. Well, at least thankfully that the Bears are finally relevant again. Hopefully for a long time, and the Bears Packers finally have some something more meaningful now. Hopefully in 2026 we're going to get more exciting games, and maybe a couple more Thursday night, Sunday night, Monday nights, probably a couple of good prime times. NFL is probably going to put these two teams together in the 2026 season.
10 years from now, there's going to be a weekly Wednesday lunch game in Australia. Who's got the weekly Wednesday lunch game in Sydney?
Right, I believe this year they're going to do that. San Francisco is actually playing a Wednesday game in Sydney.
Yeah, and they're just going to they got their toe in the water.
Yeah.
They're jumping in.
Unfortunately, yeah.
Well, Bart,
listen, I apologize there, Ken. Bart, listen, thank you for doing this tonight. It was a pleasure having you on. Hopefully you'll come back to us again in the near future. Again, this was, Ken said, it was a lot of fun. We look forward to having you on again. We don't get too many repeated guests, but we definitely would love to have you on. Hopefully, you're into what was it? The Winklerverse gets off and running, and hopefully you get another gig, whether it's in Milwaukee or somewhere nationally. Fox or ESPN or whatnot. Hopefully, you'll get another shot at the doing radio sports talk show locally or nationally as well. Folks, hopefully you'll be able to follow Bart on his X right there at Bart Winkler Show on the title there. Bart, thank you so much for doing this tonight with us, and good luck to you in the future. And we look forward to having you on again in the very near future. Good luck to you in your future endeavors, sir.
Yeah, thank you to you guys. Good to talk with you. Had a good time. And I'm not in the business of saying no to jumping on platforms right now. So anytime you need me,
feel free. If you would even if you just want to jump into our DMs and just want to say, "Hey, I want to come on," feel free. We're happy to have you.
Right.
we'll do this again.
Yeah, if you want to promote something, if you're writing a book or if you have a book or something, we'll love to have you on and talk about
Or
it
if
as
you
well.
just want to put your kid on, that's fine too.
Yeah. The next time I come on, it'll be for no reason other than to say hi to you guys.
That's perfectly fine.
That's perfectly fine with us too.
Bart,
Bart,
thanks a lot.
thank you so much, and take care, sir.
Thanks, guys.
Take care. Have a good night.
That was good.
Well,
yeah,
that was wonderful.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, I had a wonderful time, and I hope 109 people who came to us enjoyed our Q&A with Bart. Really, really great, talk show host, formerly with the Infinity, formerly Audacy, and had a real good conversation with him on the world of sports there. Our final word segment, Ken. Obviously, the Winter Olympics finally came to an end, and certainly our thoughts and but I think somehow this week, unfortunately, it was kind of dominated something in the eyes of many people about the sports and politics of Eileen Gu and Alyssa Liu. You being a Taiwanese, American, and I know that you have never hidden your disdain towards, China, the mainland China, and obviously, Eileen Gu is a Chinese American representing China. Alyssa Liu is also born in China, or at least his father is a Chinese immigrant, and we know the backstory of how she grew up and how his father pushed her. Liu, I believe she one time burned out and left, and now she came back and won the gold medal in short programs, I believe. Gu gets a lot of shit because obviously we know that the conservatives likes to take a shot at China or Chinese people, and they're communist. When they, ironically, some of the stuff that they say and do these days, they kind of embrace their ideology, which is not lost on neither one of us. So I want to know your thoughts on the evisceration of Gu, and then Liu from your perspective.
Well, I have mixed feelings on Eileen Gu. She chose to have
representation. I get it. Yeah,
China. So I am not happy about that in that aspect. But she's free to do what she wants. The Olympics have their way of having. If you want to represent a country and you get citizenship, then you can certainly do that. United States is a little bit. You become a citizen of the United States, but there's a waiting period. So there's certain athletes who wanted to compete in this year's figure skating for the United States, but couldn't do that because of the waiting period. Eileen Gu was able to do that rather quickly. She's represented her sport very well, and she's one of the greats. There's no doubt about that. I will say a reporter asked her one of the dumbest questions ever, asking her, did she feel that when she got 2 silver medals in the Olympics, she won a gold today in the women's half pipe. So it's solidifying her as one of the greatest female Olympians, Olympians of any sport, ever. Reporter asked her, how did she feel after quote unquote losing the gold? She basically retorted, she laughed and said, "Hey, look, I'm one of the most decorated athletes ever, so I don't feel like I've lost the gold." And she put the reporter in his place. As for Alyssa Liu, her father came over from China. He has been investigated as a spy by China. He was also tried to escape Tiananmen Square. Alyssa Liu, unfortunately, was also investigated by China as a spy, which he's not. But we also want to talk about mental health for Alyssa Liu because, as you mentioned, she quit the sport at 16. She retired. She basically found herself and now is skating with joy. She has dyed her hair in a way that, and she just says, "Look, medals don't matter to me. I'm just skating for the fun of the sport. I just want to show that you can do this and not put pressure on yourself." We saw that with Ilya Milanin last week when he crumbled under the pressure in the men's figure skating program. Alyssa Liu was totally different. She just basically skated with joy, while others, like 3 Japanese skaters who were in the vying for gold medals, crumbled under the pressure and they made mistakes. Alyssa Liu just didn't care. I don't want to say she didn't care, but she just said, "Oh, look, I'm here to skate. I'm here to make people feel something about the artistic artistry of my program." And she won the gold medal, and I think that's a great thing. And the fact is that she's skating on her own terms is a wonderful thing. Eileen Gu, like I said, I have my issue is going to go to China and represent China, but also at the same time she's doing it on her own terms, which is absolutely fine. So but I'm very happy for both the women. Their success. Eileen Gu has been able to get endorsements, and she would have gotten endorsements had she been in the United States too. So don't think that this is something she tried to say. Oh, she, I don't know the exact whole thing of why she decided to represent China, and where there's money involved, there might have been, but that's not for me to say. And again, it's my personal thing against communist China. As a Taiwanese, I've had my issues with the government, but like I said, she's a person who's able to make contracts. She goes to Stanford. She's basically lives in the United States. So, but she also does, a lot of things in China as well, and doing endorsements there. So, again, didn't appreciate the reporter's question to her about supposedly losing gold medals, put him in his place. And then Alyssa Liu, what she's been able to do and come back and skate on her own terms, become a world champion last year and become the Olympic champion this year. So hats off to both of them.
Yeah, with the World Cup happening in about, in a few months, you're going to see many athletes, dual citizens, have Mexican Americans, representing Mexico and so forth. And then also, Mexican Americans representing the United States, like Ricardo Pepi, among others. Mm-hmm. So the sports and, like identity and representation. I know these things get always used for, political touchdowns and score brownie points among conservatives and so forth. And then there's also the case of, like German Americans, having born between, German women and American servicemen back in the day and so forth. Jermaine Jones, who played for the United States as a German American, represented 2014 USA World Cup team. Timothy Chandler, among others, Thomas Dooley, if you want to go way, way back. So, as World Cup gets closer, you're going to see these types of athletes who one time lived in America, played for the United States youth team, and then ended up leaving to go represent, their mother, the countries that their parents immigrated from, Mexico, Honduras, Costa Rica, Canada. If you go to like Germany, Bosnia, Herzegovina, Poland, and so forth, so it's really, really nothing new. And obviously because of, because Gu and Liu both represented China, and we know that the U.S. versus China, stuff that's being politicized will always be used against these two ladies. And I'm actually kind of glad that Gu was able to, put these, reporter, like you said, in their place, with their, with their motives and stuff like that. So, I totally understand how you feel and where you're coming from, Ken.
All right. Thanks. And, like I said, Eileen Gu has been able to, carve out a career for herself with endorsements, and Alyssa Liu is the way she's doing it on her own, I think is basically doing a great thing. And again, regardless of my feelings about Eileen Gu and her choice of representing China, she's doing it on her own terms, and that's it's more important than what I think. So quickly, let's go over to what the Olympics are finished today. The United States hockey teams, the women and the men, both won their gold medal games respectively over the last week in Milan
Yeah.
Cortina. Of course, they both won in overtime, and both in situations where Canada basically dominated them for the entire game, except for certain periods of time. So,
Right.
Jack Hughes scoring the overtime goal in today, and then it was. I'm trying to think about her name. I can't remember her name, but she scored the goal for the United States against Canada. So situations where this is the United States women last won gold in Pyeongchang in the Republic of Korea in 2018, and then they won, of course, the first gold medal back in 1998 in Nagano, Japan. For the
Right.
United States men, it's our first gold medal since 1980, the Miracle on Ice, and of course, before that it was 1960 in Lake Tahoe. So, first gold medal for the United States men outside of the North America, outside the United States, and they won a big one today. So, of course, nothing like the impact of the Miracle on Ice. But one thing that Mike Tirico mentioned today is that kids watching today, they could see a legacy, and this could help the legacy for U.S. hockey down the line for both men and women. Kids seeing them today say, "Hey, that's something I'd like to do." So we'll see what happens with that. But feel good story today for those who like to watch hockey only in the Olympics. Great moment for them, and they won today. And overtime 2-1 against Canada today, 3-2 against Canada in the women's game. So fantastic win. First time that both teams won their a gold medal at the same time. Canada did it to the United States in 2010 in Vancouver, and again in 2002 in Salt Lake City. So good to see the United States at least get the wins today. And it was fun to watch. And the NHL is back on Wednesday. The PWHL is back on Thursday. So granted, I know that the Toronto Maple Leaf game isn't necessarily going to get you to watch hockey all the time, because the level of hockey today is just on a level that we've never seen before. But certainly, if you want to support the women, they have an opportunity. They'll be touring around the United States, so if they're coming to your city, have a chance to watch them. So fantastic stuff. So the Olympics are done, and Stephen, we're going to be going into college basketball. We've got that coming up. The NBA, unfortunately, the NBA playoffs will be coming up maybe in a couple months, and we have no idea what's going to happen with the NBA. The NHL will have their playoffs too, but of course, we also have the World Baseball Classic, so we'll be talking about that in the upcoming. So we'll have some stuff to talk about in the next month or so.
Mm-hmm. And quickly, my final words are obviously something that let's see, Angels owner Art Moreno said recently in his interview. It is quite shocking. He spoke on the Athletic recently, and I believe it was also recently posted on I your website, Awful Announcing as well. Right. About, the fans do not prioritize winning, and that they, certainly, first of all, what he said was, it's hard to see the problem is. It's easy to make excuses, but certainly the Angels have resources to compete in every sports. This is actually what the interim MLB PA director Bruce Moyer said something, because Art Moreno was quoted as saying the fans do not prioritize winning. They care more about affordability, which is simply something very stupid thing to say. And then that was a conversation that, you, me, and Bart were having with the MLB owners, trying to implement, cap when if if Art Moreno's of the world are simply spending and then putting together a quality product, or at least a competitive product, something like this would never come out of his own mouth to begin with. And it's just so shocking that sometimes that the billionaires or the owners lack self-awareness, and then just blurt out these things like the fans would actually support these things.
Yeah. Well, Artie Moreno has never endeared himself to the fans.
No.
Of the Angels, because of weren't able to get a network together, are not. They used to televise all of their spring training games. They're not doing that this year. Also,
Right.
too, Artie Moreno one time refused to allow the radio after COVID, and radio announcers were beginning to start traveling with the team again. He refused to allow them to travel and force them to call the road games off a monitor, because he wanted to pay them less. And he also tried to eliminate one of their Spanish announcers, because he didn't want to pay him either. So again, Artie Moreno has got to pick his battles better. He's never has. He won. First of all, he stopped. The Angels had their own identity, and they were called the Anaheim Angels. But he decided to change it by calling them the Los Angeles Angels, even though Anaheim is nowhere near Los Angeles.
Right.
And now he decided to compromise by calling them the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim, which is even worse name. So again, Artie Moreno has never endeared himself to the fans. He wanted to build a new stadium at one time. He actually wanted to sell the team at one time, but then he said, because I'm dealing with this. I don't want to deal with them anymore. But then he saw he was making money again, so he decided to pull it back. So I don't get him. I at first there was thought that he was going to be a salvage.
Yeah.
He was going to salvage and be the savior for the franchise. But he's turned out not to be that way. And, he had Shohei Ohtani on his team and Mike Trout. But because for some reason he didn't want to spend money.
Right. And they never won anything. Yeah.
They never won anything. And so that's why Shohei Ohtani left. He liked the Los Angeles market. He liked being in Southern California. So that's why he went to the Dodgers. And Mike Trout got hurt. And now the Angels are continuing to flounder, and basically he's made his own bed, Steven. He's made his own bed. He's got to lie in it. So Artie Moreno, I don't want to say something stupid on my end, but I just want to say that he is
no.
He is not a guy who relates to his fans, and the fans don't relate to him. And he's done nothing to do outreach to the fans. And, I've been in that stadium. I traveled out there. I went to see Shohei Ohtani the season he was there. And it was great to see the Japanese fans, Steven. I think I told you this. It was great to see the Japanese community support the Angels. And they were very supportive of the team. But now they've thrown that support to the Dodgers, because they don't have they really don't have a marketable person, and they don't have someone dynamic as Shohei Ohtani anymore. So and I think this is a comeuppance for Artie Moreno, and saying stupid things like the fans don't want to win. That is just you're cutting your nose off to spite your face.
And you wonder why the players do not want the salary cap implemented, because of owners like this. Because Artie Moreno conveniently blurted out the how most of them feel anyway. I mean, the Angels are not a small market team, but even the big market teams like the Angels, who have been mismanaged under Moreno for decades. So implementing a salary cap certainly will not force any changes for an owners like Artie Moreno.
He's not, even if
it's unfortunate.
If you gave him a salary floor, Steven, I don't think he would spend the money, because he would just take that money and put it in his own pocket. So he's, again, it would behoove him to sell the team like he originally wanted to, but and I think his family talked him out of it. But again, the fans are suffering, and that ain't the Angels should be much better. Of course, they went to the World Series in 2002. They had they had a great fan base. They had an opportunity to do much better, but now that Moreno has been there, they haven't done anything. They thought they could ride Shohei Ohtani's coattails for a long time until he finally got fed up and just said, "Look, you're not going to try and get a winner. I'm going to leave." And he has the absolute right to do that. And now they're seeing the Dodgers reap all the benefits and seeing him win two world championships. And instead, they're left with Mike Trout, who unfortunately is hurt and is getting older, and the window is closed on him. So I hate to see that.
Yeah. Well, on that note, Ken, we'll put a bow on this show. Again, thank you for joining me today. I know, the snow out there in Providence is quite scary and, cumulative. So, I hope you stay warm and safe out there. Here in Michigan, it looks to be like snow again all this upcoming week. Wow. So, hopefully you and I will both, it's not as bad as where you are, hopefully, but, hopefully you and I will survive this and get together for another episode of the Double Team live stream next week. Thank you for 114 people joining us today. I hope you enjoyed our conversation with Bart Winkler. Yeah.
Yep. And we found the issue because last week we didn't have that as many viewers last week. We had to manually because what X is, again, the algorithm that Elon put through, it prevented our automatically posting our live stream. So we have to do it manually. So thank you for the 114 people that found us today, because we had to post the live stream manually. I don't know if you did it on your X account, Steven, but I did it on mine. So thank you. And I also posted the YouTube link. But thank you for all those. We'll continue until they fix this issue. We will post when we start the stream. We will manually post the link for you to watch on X, and you'll be able to find us. But thank you for your patience, and thank you very much for finding us this week.
Yeah, I see your name and my name on the live on X section on the right side of the X there. So hopefully, I think it seems to be working just fine there. Ken, thank you, Joy. Thank you as always. Have a great week, and hope to see you again next Sunday. And thanks for joining us tonight. We hope to see you next week on the Double A Team podcast live stream. Have a great night, everybody.
And all the people on the East Coast, stay safe. We know that this storm could potentially knock out power because we have gusts up to 70 miles an hour. And this snow is going to be heavier than what we had in our last storm, which we had over 10 inches. So it was a light snow. This one's going to be pack a lot of water in it. So I hope don't try to dig yourself out by yourself, because it's going to be a very heavy snow. So get some help, or find someone to plow your driveway, and be safe out there. And hopefully we want to see you next week. We'll talk to you soon.